How's it going, everyone? Agent Shadow here, and it's finally time for Monster Hunter Rise, and man, I have been loving this game. So I decided to make this tutorial for any new players out there about the main weapon that I use, the Chargeblade. I've been using this weapon since Monster Hunter World, and man, have they improved in this game. It is an absolutely amazing weapon capable of handling even the toughest monsters out there, but at the same time, it gives you really good defense. A lot of new things have been added with Monster Hunter Rise, so there's going to be a lot more for me to explain, but we're going to get to everything we can in this video. In this video, we will be covering the basics on Chargeblade, the types of Chargeblades available, going over phials, how to use those phials to charge your shield and your sword, basic combos, movement, the amped elemental discharge, the ultimate amped elemental discharge, guard points, Silkbind mechanics, and then I'll give you a starter build that'll help you crush all the low rank monsters and get you into high rank. As you guys can see, we've got a lot of stuff to hop into, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the type of Chargeblades, of which there are two. The Impact Phial Chargeblade and the Elemental Chargeblade. Impact focuses more on dealing raw damage, it can also do KO damage to knock down monsters, while Elemental focuses well on doing elemental damage, and that damage is boosted and applies to all attacks dealt to the monster. You'll notice Impact Chargeblade generally have a smaller elemental damage number, if any at all. Alright, now it's time to go over phials. You'll notice in the top right corner that there's a bunch of jar looking things. These are your phials. When white and empty, you have no phials. When yellow, it means they're partially full. When red, completely full. When either partially full or completely full, you can charge your phials by pressing Z, R, and A. This will fill your jars or phials. Note that you can still fill your phials even while they're fully charged. But be warned, when your phials are full and glowing red, you will be overcharged. You can see here that the phials are glowing and I'm unable to hit anything without bouncing. To fix this, simply charge your phials again by pressing Z, R, plus A. Filling and charging your phials is an integral part of playing Chargeblade as it will affect your attacks dramatically. Note that every hit will charge your phials in Sword and Shield mode. Okay, now that your phials are all stored up, it's time to use them. To transfer your charged phials into your shield, there are two methods. The first being a combo in Sword and Shield mode. To perform this combo, press X plus A, then X plus A again. Then during the animation, when you put the Chargeblade behind your back, press ZR. The second method uses the Chargeblade's axe mode and is a little easier. Simply press X plus A at the same time, and again press ZR when the Chargeblade is behind your back. This will transfer all your phials into your shield. You can see that the shield icon next to my phials is now glowing and the shield itself has a red glow. When your shield is charged, your guard is stronger, letting you block more attacks with less knockback, and is the key into unleashing the true power of the Chargeblade. Note that this does not last forever and you will need to recharge your shield once it starts blinking. Now it's time for the sword, and there's two ways to do this as well, but the second way we're going to get into a little later. Note that your shield has to be charged first before you can charge your sword using this method. Press ZR plus A as if you were charging your phials, but this time hold X as you put your shield behind you and your character will continue in this animation. The moment you're waiting for is here, when the sword comes completely into the shield. Release X and voila, your sword is charged and will now deal extra phial damage and elemental damage if your Chargeblade has an element. Alright, now for some basic combos. Instead of explaining each one in detail, I'll do them on screen and you can pause to take a look at the inputs. As a Chargeblade user, it's important to have a charged shield and sword as often as possible to be able to deal the most damage and have the most defense. When fighting, keep an eye on your phials icon and try to keep them charged while fighting the monster. That way you can charge your shield during the fight. Remember that hitting the monster is key to charging your phials, so stick and move, people. Also, just a quick note, if you're wondering how to switch from Sword and Shield mode into Axe mode, it's as simple as holding ZR to guard and then pressing the X button. Then pressing ZR again will take you back into Sword and Shield mode. Speaking of stick and move, it's time to talk about movement. The Chargeblade has a few options for quick repositioning during a combo. First, there's the basic dodge we all know and love. It saved our butts many a time, but also has to be timed correctly in a tight window or else you'll be hit. Secondly, the Chargeblade has what's called the Fade Slash, which makes your hunter slide to a different spot, then hit the monster. You can do this by moving the left thumbstick in a direction and pressing A, after any hit during a Sword and Shield combo. You can move in all directions, so use this as a tool to reposition if a monster is about to hit you. Lastly is the sidestep, which doesn't look like much but has iframes and can move through monsters' attacks if timed correctly. Do this by pressing a direction and B after charging phials at the end of a Sword and Shield combo or after switching from Axe mode to Sword and Shield mode. Now it's time to talk about the strongest moves in the Chargeblade arsenal, the Amped Elemental Discharge or AED and the Ultimate Amped Elemental Discharge or UAED. The AED swings your hunter's axe and hits the monster, causing phial damage at the point of impact and uses one phial, while the Ultimate Amped is a devastating attack unleashing the power of all of your phials. There are two ways to perform both, but they are relatively the same. For the AED in Sword and Shield mode, perform the Shield Charge combo. If you don't remember, it's X plus A, then X plus A 2 more times. This time, instead of pressing ZR, pull down on the left thumbstick and press X at the same time to perform the AED. In Axe mode, just press X plus A, then do the same. It's important to note that you don't need a charged shield for this one, and only requires that you have charged phials available. The Super Amped is a little different. Instead, it requires a charged shield to pull off. Basically, do the same thing as the AED, but don't pull down or press X in Sword and Shield mode. In Axe mode, just press X plus A and let it fly. Next on the list is guard points. Guard points are performed when a monster hits your shield while you're in an animation. This causes the animation to cancel and also deals a bit of KO damage to the monster as well, turning your defense into offense. There are two basic guard points. One is performed when you time your switch from Sword and Shield mode to Axe mode, which again is done by holding ZR and pressing X. You'll see here that instead of switching, the animation was cancelled and the damage number popped up. The second guard point is performed at the end of a Sword and Shield combo since it ends with your shield in front of you. Time these correctly and you'll be knocking monsters on their sides regularly. Alright, now it's time to talk about Silkbinds. The addition of the wire bugs and Silkbinds make for some awesome new mechanics with the Chargeblade. The Chargeblade has what I call the Silkbind guard. When activated, the wire bugs reinforce your shield, and if hit by a monster attack, it instantly fills all of your phials. This can be used on anything from roars to regular monster attacks, but will not stop unblockable monster attacks unless you have the skill Guard Up. To perform this, press ZL plus A before monster attacks or roars. If landed correctly, you'll hear a distinct sound and your phials will charge to full. This can also be chained in different moves. If you press X plus A after the block and ZR when the Chargeblade is behind your back, you can charge your shield without having to hit the monster 1,000 times. In addition, if you land the Silkbind guard while your shield is already full and charged, and press X plus A afterwards, you can perform the AED or the UAED, and pressing X after the Silkbind guard will instantly charge your sword and land a big hit on the monster. Use this wisely and learn the monster's attack patterns to know which moves to do after landing the Silkbind guard. Deciding on what armor and skills to make and wear can be a pain if you haven't done it before, so I'll give you my recommendation for what to make in the early game that helped me clear low rank. The Great Azuchi set is what I chose for its multiple stacks of the skill called Critical Eye. This increases your weapon's affinity, which makes it perform critical hits more often, as well as recovery speed, which increases the rate that your health regens from red, and constitution that will lessen the amount of stamina doing things like guarding and dodging. This paired with the Novice Talisman you get from the pre-ordering Monster Hunter Rise gives yet another stack of Crit Eye and Wall Runner, which makes it a great set for taking out early monsters. Once you reach Hunter Rank 3, I suggest switching up to a set of Anjanath Helm, Nargacuga Mail, Anjanath Braces and Coil along with the Engot Greaves, which will give you Critical Eye 5, Attack Boost 4 which raises your base attack, Slugger 2 which increases the amount of knockout damage your impact phials and guard points do, Focus 2 which increases the rate at which your phials charge from hitting the monster, and Evade Window which adds a little bit more iframes to your dodges to make them more successful. This set, along with the Magnum Aloe Chargeblade and a hunter that can use the techniques I just went over effectively, will have zero problem getting through to high rank. If you're considering the Chargeblade as an option, then I suggest taking some time in the training area to practice a bit. You can head there by taking the small boat docked in the Buddy Plaza. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe for more Monster Hunter Rise content and tutorials. I'll be making an Advanced Chargeblade tutorial going into more specific detail on the different switch skills and more complex techniques in the near future. Until then, good luck and happy hunting!